Come in. Can I help you?
Dr. Page.
Yes.
Mohammad from ADP, sir. How are you?
Hi, Mohammed. Good. How are you?
Doing just fine.
Please have a seat.
Thank you, sir. I see you're in workout attire today, sir.
My workout attire, just feeling a little sick. Off day.
Are you okay?
I am.
If you'd like, we can reschedule the meeting to another time.
I think I'll be okay.
Alright, well, I couldn't help but notice that beautiful painting behind you.
Oh, thanks. I actually just finished it.
Well, I was just about to ask you where you bought it from. What do you mean you just finished that?
I painted that myself.
How long did it take you?
Let's say 4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours?
Yeah.
That's something that looks like it took 4 or 5 months. It's magnificent.
I've been doing it for a while.
How long have you been painting?
Ever since I was in my early teens.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you paint often?
I do. I try to paint as much as I can in my free time.
Okay, so you'd say it's your first hobby?
I would say so.
Do you do other artistic things about paint?
I mean, I paint mostly, but I like to practice with a pencil, pastel, and charcoal.
What's a pastel?
Pastel is like an oily chalk, It's meant for the hand to be spread, It's a little messy, but you'll get used to it,
The only chalk I have experience with is that chalk on the playground. At least right on the ground. Yeah, that's the only chalk that I have experience with.
It's similar to that.
So, I feel like painting is big in your life.
It is.
I think that if we were to be able to meet your needs, ADP would be able to become a big asset in your life as well, with its payroll systems and even its human resources systems.
Okay, well, to be honest, I think it's about time for us to get a new payroll system.
Okay.
But the only thing hindering me right now is the cost.
Absolutely, sir. I understand that. If you don't mind me asking, can you describe your current payroll system to me?
Sure. I mean, my wife takes care of the payroll system right now. She spends about 2 hours, 2-3 hours putting data into the system, 2 hours doing the payroll itself. It takes her a while every single week. I mean, it's a tedious project. We use Microsoft Dynamics. It's an off-shelf program. I don't know if you've heard of it. It costs us about $1,500 annually. I mean, it's a cheap program, but it does the job.
So, if we could come to a consensus today about a program that would benefit you from ADP, would you be the one making the decision, or would you want your wife to be in on this meeting, or
she doesn't necessarily have to be here, even though she does all that work,
okay,
but I can make that decision on her behalf.
Absolutely, sir. So if you don't mind telling me, how many employees do you currently have?
Okay, currently I have 35 employees,
okay,
20 in this facility and 15 in the new one.
It's a beautiful office, by the way.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you're not happy about with Microsoft Dynamics?
Like I said, it's an off-the-shelf program. It does its job.
It does the job. Okay. I understand that it's cheap and it does the job, but does your off-the-shelf program handle any other administrative duties, or is it strictly payroll?
I mean, it focuses on payroll, but my wife manually handles human resources and filing spreadsheets for our employees.
So she types data in for employees.
Yes.
Into spreadsheets?
Yes.
Okay, so that sounds really tedious.
Yes.
How much time does that take her?
I don't want to over-exaggerate, but it takes her no less than 15 hours a week to do so.
A week?
Yeah.
Wow.
And since it takes her so much, she does make a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes negatively affect our employees.
So, we're talking about she enters time off data and that kind of stuff into spreadsheets, just employee data in general.
Right.
Are the employees paid for these off days?
The employees are paid for those off days, but like I said, since so many mistakes are being made, some of the employees, I don't want to believe that, but papers don't lie, Some of the employees seem to be taking advantage of that, It's negatively affecting my business.
So you're telling me that some employees might be taking days off that they're not just, or they shouldn't be taking off?
I don't want to point fingers,
okay,
but unfortunately.
Do you believe that has a negative cost effect on your company?
I mean, it does, definitely.
The employees are taking time off they shouldn't, and they should be working.
Right.
Okay. Are you experiencing any issues that could have potentially a negative effect on the business?
Okay, well, this has been happening since the past 3-4 pay periods.
Okay.
Every pay period, about 4 or 5 checks are being bounced.
Wow.
And those checks obviously are not getting to the right employees, and it's affecting their lives negatively, and it's affecting their work negatively. They're coming to work frustrated, wondering where their money is,
Absolutely. If ADP refused or was late on a check of mine, I'd be pretty frustrated too, because my bills wouldn't be able to be paid at all. So I understand that. And do you think that could hinder your future expansion projects or trying to find other employees if these problems remain?
Absolutely. I mean, we are trying to expand to a third facility, and having these problems right now wouldn't help that at all.
Employees talk too. I believe that if you're trying to get the best of the best, you really don't want a bad name for yourself amongst employees.
Exactly.
If ADP could be able to be the one to reduce the amount of costly errors that you produce, maximize effectiveness, and just set up more free times by eliminating errors, do you think that to be something that you'd be interested in?
I mean, absolutely. The last thing we need is to create a culture that lacks professionalism here, you know? We want the best for our employees. We don't want employees to be frustrated at all. We want them to come to work happy, ready to work, feeling that their employers are satisfying their needs, you know? And our success depends solely on the success of our employees.
It really seems to me that your wife, bless her heart, is just taking on another part-time job.
Yeah.
Do you think that, have you thought about how eliminating errors could be cost-effective for you?
I mean, eliminating errors, the only errors, like I said, is we have the whole paid-off system being messed around with, the errors with the checks bouncing. So I would say definitely.
Well, you see, sir, if you don't mind, I can show you some pricing options right here for our payroll.
Sure.
I just want to kind of give you a ballpark figure of how much the difference would be between us and yes, sir. This one right here. Between us and the current payroll system that you have.
Okay.
You told me that you're charging around, or you're paying around $1,500 for Microsoft Dynamics, which is off the shelf.
Right.
Our payroll system charges about $40 per payroll, so you'll be paying on a per payroll system instead of an annual figure. So every time you file payroll, you would be paying. If you put that for the 20 employees and the 15 employees that you currently have, because we do it separately by office,
Okay.
what this would cost you on an annual basis is around $1,920.
1,920?
1,920, yes, sir.
Mohammed, I don't know if you've been listening to me, but I told you my biggest concern is cost. And that's 420 over what I pay right now.
Absolutely, sir, and I totally understand where you're coming from, but I feel like with the added benefit that you would get from the ADP services, that the cost would be justified.
Okay.
Right now, I feel like your wife handles a lot of the manual entry in data, spreadsheets, and reports. ADP could cover that for her, and that it would make it easier for her in that human resources module that we have.
Okay.
Payroll could be done from a cell phone. It's
Okay.
very, very simple. That would save a lot of time. You would eliminate the errors that you're getting often, right? You could use direct deposit instead of having to send checks by mail. That would also eliminate that hassle of filing, stuffing, and
Sure.
mailing checks. It would eliminate postage costs as well, even
Sure.
though they're not much.
Sure.
So all those costs add up, but if the most important thing I believe in your situation or in your case is the time. Your wife would have more time to spend with children. Your wife would have more time to focus on that new expansion. So I believe that in this scenario, ADP would benefit. Sure, it would cost a little bit more, but it would benefit you in the long run. And if you want to put a value of money on that time spent with the children or that time spent expanding the business, I believe that's truly priceless.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, and I totally agree with you. I would love for my wife to have some free time to spend with the kids at home, you know. But as attractive as that sounds, the biggest concern for me is accounting costs, and I don't know how I can avoid that.
Absolutely, sir. And do you, you're saying accounting costs, are you thinking about hiring
If we were to
accountants?
expand to a newer location, I'd be having to hire a new accountant.
And that would be for taxes
Tax
or
purposes.
and what following government regulations? Okay. If I were to tell you that ADP does that for you, we do taxes for you, and we follow, we keep you up to date every time the government passes a new law, bill, regulation.
Okay.
Would that be something that would maybe?
I mean, that sounds very attractive, but are you guaranteeing that I would eliminate all accounting costs?
All accounting costs, there would be no need for an accountant because ADP takes care of the taxes, like I said. We do the payroll, or we help you with payroll, make it as simple as possible.
Okay.
And every time the government passes a law, the representatives will be able to help you for that. So, in my opinion, sir, I don't believe that there's a need for an accountant.
Okay.
I believe so. So, if you want to put that in perspective, ADP saves you money in that regard because you were thinking about hiring a full-time accountant
Right.
anyway, right? It makes your payroll system all in all more effective, and you eliminate errors.
That
That's the
does
most
sound very,
important thing.
very attractive. I mean, That would help a lot.
So if you don't mind, I can show you some more programs and pricing options.
Okay.
Maybe benefits that you want to add or anything like that.
Sure.
And if you're interested, we can move forward from here.
I think I'm very much so.
All right, awesome. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so
I
much.
appreciate it.